when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to 105.3 and 107.7 to the thing at the foot of the bed on UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And I'm one of your hosts, Lorilei Potvin, and my co-host, who I will introduce in just a second, is David Hanzel to the right. Yes, I have no voice. Come down with the dreaded cold flu thing, but it's on its way out, thank goodness. So I've been saving my voice for tonight, so hopefully it will last. Now, if you're listening and you want to join in the conversation, you can head over to Facebook and YouTube under the name of UFO Paranormal Radio Network. That's also what we're known as well as United Public Radio Network. You can head over to David's YouTube channel and his Facebook group under the same name, The Spirit Experience with David Hanzel. I am not streaming on Facebook tonight. I'm not sure who Davey is. We'll see what they have to say here, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that, Dave. You'll see in a minute why, guys. You can't see all the comments, thank goodness. Anyways, I got distracted there. You can also, I am not streaming on my Facebook profile tonight. They would not let me. They're being naughty with me. So, but you can also, hi, Neil Carr. He goes, wow, it's been a week already. Hey guys, I'm still here, LOL. You can also join the conversation on my YouTube channel, which is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. And we're streaming on Canada's Most Haunted. We're also on Roku tonight, which is under UFO Paranormal Radio. If you go into the YouTube, or sorry, my brain's not working, sorry, Roku channel store, and you look up UFO space P as in paranormal, you'll find it. There's a drop-down menu, and you're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. I am also, I should tell you a little bit about myself, I guess. I am Lorilei Potvin. I am a host on the network here of two shows, one of my own, which is called The Angel Rock on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then this show here that we do, we co-host together with David Hanzel. I'm a Canadian clairvoyant medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. Now, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Hi, BB. And tell all your friends and family. The network's been around for 25 plus years. So when we're not streaming live, we have multiple shows every day, 7 days a week. We have the archive server. So there is something for everybody here. We've got hosts from all around the world and viewers from all around the world. So be sure to check it all out. Lastly, if you're on Facebook, and don't worry about it, we will highlight it in the left lower hand corner of the screen for you. If you've never been to a show of ours before, you'll come up as Facebook user. There's a couple ways to fix that. First of all, you can stay anonymous if you'd like, or if you'd like for us to know who you are, we'd like to shout out people and have them part of our show. You can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, or you can just put your name behind your comment, whatever you like, and I'll pass it over to Dave. You're not late, JK47 Paranormal Investigations, Jonathan. I'm gonna shout this out quickly. He says, hey, Josh. Or he says, hey, everyone, sorry I'm late. He said he was messaging Josh and Sandy Greenberg. Oh, I know why. Okay. Jonathan's going to be on the Angel Rock next Monday, too. Sorry, Dave, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
That's okay. Hey, it's me. I'm David Hanzel, spiritual medium. The cat that was on my lap a minute ago was my buddy Carmel.
Who are you?
Yeah, that was Carmel. And my phone just rang, and I forgot to turn it off. And of course, when people call me and they know I'm doing this. Oh, you did it? Oh, I got my StreamYard has something cool where I can reduce the noise in the background. So I got my fan running, and it took away the phone. So that was cool.
Well, that's nice. I didn't hear it. So who are you, Dave?
So I am David. I am a spiritual medium, paranormal investigator, and Reiki and channel and all kinds of stuff. You can. I also have another podcast called Mystic Stew, which I make some short form pre-recorded. What are they called? Episodes?
Podcast.
Some kind of episode of some sort. Yeah. They're pre-recorded. I'll be putting a new one out this weekend. And also I am on TikTok, and you can find me on TikTok under Medium David Hanzel. There's a big following there. You can ask me all kinds of questions on there. And that is about it for now. Other than that, I am so sorry you're sick, Lorilei. I know that sucks.
That's okay. You know what happened? It was Monday night, and it was getting later because I don't go to bed early. I go to bed early in the morning, I guess. And I started getting a sore throat, and I'm going, I'm healthy. I'm completely healthy. I'm healthy. And I woke up in the morning and went, oh, crap. But I am starting to feel a bit better today. At least I wasn't sleeping. That's been since Monday night, go to bed. Yeah. But I'm getting all these messages. Where are you guys? Where are you? Where are you? Why are you not answering? And then would Neil say, well, Lorilei, sorry, I'm just waiting for it to come up here. It doesn't want to show up. Okay. Oh, now it disappeared. Hang on. You're a paranormal fix all force not to mess with. I'm pretty bad, ours. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Neil. Well, hey, the show must go on, right? I told Dave that. I talked to Dave yesterday. I said, I'm sick, Dave, because we usually go live. And I didn't get to his message. He was already live on TikTok, and we usually go do readings and teachings. And I said, you're probably going to hear this after, but I'm saving my voice for tonight. Neil says that David is no joke either, and a good looking fella. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Thanks, because I'm feeling awfully rough.
Am I sending you my cold flu?
I didn't. I told you. I was telling Lorilei that.
Be careful with the word, though. Be careful with the word. Yeah. You can spell it if you want.
A couple of weeks ago, I did a private party as a medium. None of that OnlyFans stuff. I did a private party, and there's about 11 people there or so. And she's not even a week later, I got a call, and they said 2 of the people there had come down with a cold.
The last 3 years, the bug. We'll call it the last.
Yeah, the past bug that we had for the longest time. 2 of those people came down with it, and they said, we just want to let you know they didn't know they had it. And I was like, not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. And I didn't end up, but it was funny that the day before that, my nose was getting really runny, and I was wondering, why is my nose running? And then he told me that, and I thought, it's the first thing that goes to your mind is like, yeah. Oh, good Lord. And then, but anyway, I ended up not having that at all. But I did get the sniffles for a little bit, but not like you. It's been crazy where Lorilei's in Canada and I'm in North Carolina, and the weather's been just as crazy here. It's like super hot one day, and then it gets super cold that night. And then it'll rain, and it'll be cold, and it'll be like 3,000 degrees again. And you're like, you don't even know which way to turn anymore.
That's just it, right? Like that's what I said to you yesterday. And anybody I think that lives in maybe even in the southern hemisphere, if we have anybody from there, but in the northern hemisphere, especially North America, it's hot, then it's cold, then it's cold, then it's hot. And then your kids in the States go back, I think, in August to school, but the kids here in Canada go back the day after Labor Day. So everybody's back inside again. And it's just the time of year. That's all it is.
It is. And it's so funny. I usually don't get too sick, especially because I don't have my muggle job anymore. My muggle job, I was surrounded by people all day long within like this far from most people. And I'm not. But like when I went out the last couple of days, people they want to get so close to you. And I'm so funny. I am really not a people person. I mean, I am a people. I love people, but when I'm around a lot of people, it's just like, oh, good Lord, get away from me. Get away from me. Don't get too near me. I feel terrible, but it's just how it is. Other than that, feeling good, ready to talk about some creepy stuff.
Let's say hi to Roger Blair. We got Roger Blair. He says, howdy from Eastern Kentucky. So I wasn't sure. We had somebody that said, I wasn't sure. We got to keep an eye on the chat here. So I apologize. I hope I didn't scare him off. We had a Davey 59.
That's me, actually.
You go, feel free to join in. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. I'm going, I don't know where this comment's going because, well, this is what happens, right? We get people sometimes showing up and saying, "Oh, I feel your energy, Neil." Or
yeah, do you know what happened? I went to my YouTube to make sure that it was going, and I looked at my YouTube under my Davey. So if you see Davey and you get a terrible comment in your video,
was you.
That's I have a YouTube channel just so I can leave comments on people's videos because I won't leave them under my name.
You're here. Welcome, Christine. Happy to have you here. So we were talking. You guys know I always talk. Hello,
Mary Ellen.
We've got Mary. She's showing up. See on Facebook, she's showing up. So we were talking, and you guys know I love Nuke's Top 5. It's not always a great one, but sometimes it is. I think I sent it to JK47, Jonathan, because Jonathan and I, that's why he brought up in his comments about talking to Josh and Sandy, who are Ellen Greenberg's parents. And we've talked about that case on here. And the guy that was on the loose, everybody knew about, Danilo Cavalcante, right? That guy, I swear to God, he's a magician. I was calling him the Brazilian ghost. Like nobody could catch this guy. He was in Pennsylvania. The dog finally brought him down yesterday morning. So I was talking to Jonathan because Jonathan actually got some interesting information doing some ITC or intertrans communication. And that's JK47 Paranormal Investigations. So I mentioned to him and I asked him, like, what do you think about this? Like, why are they not catching this guy? Like, they got over 600 police there. They had the U.S. Marshals, they had elite forces, they had Border Patrol, they had horses, they had dogs. They could not catch this guy. And he said, well, do you want to do an Estes method and check it out? Let's see what we get. And I warned him. I warned Jonathan. I said, don't be surprised. We might get some creepy stuff coming through because creepies don't forget who you are once they know who you are. And we did get some creepy stuff. So we're going to talk about that on Monday night. But
I like the creepy stuff that shows up in podcasts.
Oh, no. This was bad. Well, in the podcast, you and I were talking off the air. And if you all have some ideas, Dave and I were talking about having a Halloween party before we jump into the big part of the show. And we figured we're going to do it the Thursday before because Halloween's on a Tuesday, I think, right, Dave?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday. Tuesday is the 31st because Saturday is the 28th.
Yeah. So we thought, let's have a Halloween party online. So if y'all have some ideas, what you want to do, want to have some fun here, or whatever you want to do, we figure we're going to do that and have a lot of good stuff. But we were also talking about the fact that Dave and I've been thinking we're going to start keeping files of all the weird and crazy EVPs and things that happen on this show because we get enough of them.
Yeah, we're actually, because we were going to have a Facebook page where we can just
we're still talking about that.
Yeah, the crazy stuff, and also our friends. So like JK47, all that. If you guys have some crazy stuff, we can put all kinds of crazy just for crazy podcast stuff.
Yeah, crazy stuff because I've had enough with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. She's got Spirit Switchboard on Fridays. If you check it out, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. And there's been EVPs we played on this show. She was on my show. There was an EVP. Neil, wait, did they find him from a tip with a tip from a medium? No, they did not.
A medium-sized dog.
Yeah, well, good size.
I said a medium-sized dog. Yeah,
it wasn't Loki. Loki, the shepherd, I think got heat exhaustion, but the dog's name was Yoda, and it was a Belgian Malinois. So it looks very much like a shepherd, a German shepherd, which is what I have.
He's like, oh, captured you are.
Yes, you are. Well, when he came out of I was calling him the Brazilian ghost. Either that or he had a invisibility cloak like Harry Potter. And I was just listening. I've talked about this. I have two really favorite true crime shows. And one is Grizzly True Crime, because I love her. She's from South Africa and she lives in the Netherlands and she sticks to the facts. And she also is very victim centered. She, instead of, all these serial killers and everything, get all this attention. She focuses on the poor victims of these crimes. The other one, amazing show. It is called Surviving the Survivor with Joel. Your last name just escaped my brain. But both of these shows have covered the Ellen Greenberg case. They cover a lot of the cases. Joel used to be a reporter with ABC and all those big affiliates, and now he does podcasting. He has his 83-year-old mother on there with him usually once a week, and her name is Carm. And I think she was part of, during World War II, she was actually in a concentration camp as a little girl. Anyways, this lady is so bright. She's a social worker. She's got a bit of an accent. And we've all met people like that have a sense of humor that's kind of really sarcastic. Well, Joel's like that with his mother, and he just gets eaten alive in the chat. Like, don't be so mean to your mother. So I want to give them a shout out. Anyways, so that's where I was watching most of this stuff and just before I was watching Grizzly True Crime before we went live, because she did a roundup of how they caught him. And apparently Cavalcante was very open about this whole hunt. They were trying to figure out, like, how do we miss you? What was going on? And he was only too happy to tell them. He said they almost stepped on him 3 times. They were that close.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's how thick the brush was. I think he was the Brazilian ghost. That's what I keep calling him.
That you got to get that. You know what? I know that guy did some terrible things, and I know he's back to get it what he deserves. But I have to give him this. Like they said, I was watching part of it when they found him. They're like, his choices were he's got life sentence.
I didn't think they'd catch him alive. That's why I'm amazed. I thought he'd say,
yeah, they got him alive. I mean, and his choices were stay in there forever or just go for it. And he went for it. So too bad he didn't do that with
and then
the other
he told
parts
them what he was planning on doing, because people were throwing around, is he going to come to Canada? And people were, no, he's not going to go to Canada. He's going to go like to Mexico, or where was he heading? He told them, if you guys hadn't caught me in the next 24 hours, I had that gun. I was going to carjack a car and I was going to go to Canada. And I thought, good luck, dude. How are you going to get through the border? Mind you, we do have one place where the RCMP apparently will walk you across the border and carry your suitcases. And I did not know this until the last 3 years. It's called Roxham Road, and it's on the border of Ontario, the province I live in, and in Quebec, I believe. They got a whole thing there, and it's not conspiracy. There's video on it. You can look up on Rebel News. It's there. But we got to get to the spooky stuff. Enough of this stuff.
Well, that's weird. Well, that's spooky enough, I tell you.
So,
okay.
Nuke's top 5. And do you want to talk about that doll that was in there? Like, that was creepy.
The doll that was in there, I have to say, I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't real. The only thing but the ones, that one I probably is one of the other ones that I thought had something good to it. Because like anybody's watched the show far enough. Yeah. We should get people if anybody's watched this show long enough, they know that I'm always trying to debunk this, that, and the other thing. But that part, it was a creepy doll that they had found someplace, and it did look pretty terrible.
No, it was a little boy. His mom had picked it up. They picked it up at a garage sale, and she said right away when they brought it home, the little boy was staying up almost day and night talking to this doll, and it was super creepy. There were a few creepy things going on at home. So she finally said enough is enough, and she threw the doll out, and the next morning the doll's at the foot of her kid's bed. So she called in a paranormal investigator, and that's where you pick up the story what you were talking about.
Oh, where they saw it running or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had that. That's the part that got me, the running part, because I looked at it 50 billion times, but I can see how it might not have been faked either. But I will say just the story behind it. And I have to agree that there are, this is something you didn't know about me, and I'll tell you, when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a puppeteer.
So did I.
Did you want to
have that Tommy Talker doll that was so creepy?
Well, I got a McCarthy.
Okay, so you had a McCarthy because there was one called a Tommy.
The ventriloquist. I know the Tommy.
Yeah, ventriloquist. I did too. I can't believe that we both wanted to do that.
Yeah, when I was 15 and 16, and
no, I was little.
I got pretty obsessed with these. I loved marionettes. I still love marionettes to this day. When I see a marionette, I am like the whole world stops and I'm in awe of the whole thing.
Okay.
But I had marionettes and I had tons of ventriloquist dolls, and they weren't like real expensive ones. And then I had my Charlie McCarthy. That was my favorite one. And the Charlie McCarthy one was always kind of weird to me. For some reason, that's one I wouldn't play with. And I'm not saying this to make it scary or nothing. It honestly was just one I wanted so bad, but once I got it, I just couldn't play with it. Well, we just moved to this new house, and we put everything in. I put everything in the garage because I was like, I didn't want these dolls in the new house yet. For some strange reason, I just didn't want them in there. And that night, that garage burnt down. There was electrical fire. So all my puppets and everything were all destroyed in the fire. And I just never got them back because my parents' insurance at the time didn't cover that, because they were just, to them, they were just toys. They weren't, like expensive items. So I just never got them back. But I thought about it. I thought, well, that's kind of good, because for some reason they were starting to creep me out. The next thing you know it, they get burned in a fire, which is really odd.
When I was
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I was little, I was about 7 or 8. And I always loved stuffed animals and playing with little miniature things and whatever. But anyways, this was it was called Tommy Talker, and he was kind of fashioned after a McCarthy doll, but he had on this red pole, like it was like a long sleeve polo shirt, white collar, blue pants, and you moved the strings and whatever. And I never got good at it. And Christine says, my cousins had a ventriloquist doll that I was fascinated with. I wanted it so bad. But you know who really fascinates me the best, and he is funny, is Jeff Dunham. Like, he's just brought ventriloquism back to a new level with Ahmed the Dead, you know who, and then he's got all the other characters like Walter. Have you ever watched him?
Yes, I have. I like the one where they put the face on a real person and they move that mouth. Did you ever see that? It's a puppet face. It goes on their face, and then the ventriloquist has a little button and it moves the mouth of the person. And it's hilarious. I love it very much. Ventriloquist dolls, though, these were my thoughts when I was 16. I was a messed up kid. So, but when I first started playing with them, I liked them at first, because you got to figure it this way. One, I was pretty weird to begin with because I was seeing ghosts when I was a little boy, and all this other stuff. So I knew there were things outside of me, and that didn't bother me much. But I remember I got fascinated with the dolls, because when I started playing with them, and I would literally was putting my entire, like when I turn them around and look at me and talk and make them talk, I was like, oh my God, this is too creepy. Because I just kind of knew you were like putting yourself into an inanimate object. And sometimes it would creep me out, because I was used to talking to invisible people, and I always thought, and I would go to bed, I'd be like, you guys, I swear to God, if you make that doll move instead of you just talking to me, I'm going to freak out.
Well, they never did. I used to have 2 shows, and I've talked about this before, and she collects haunted items. And like, she has a broken cross from an exorcist, and that created quite a few issues. I remember we talked about that, and I had pictures. I've seen stuff at her house. She's seen stuff at my old house. Anyways, she'd have these dolls behind her in the office, and there was this one particular doll, and of course I could always see it because it's behind, like it would have been, say it was behind you, it was behind her. And I'd say, oh my God, that doll just like blinked, or that doll smiled. Oh God, that doll's arm moved, or whatever. And then I realized, after we got chatting one time after a show, the doll's features were painted. Like, how did that doll smile?
I am on board with you. That's so odd, because we also, long time, they had some dolls with painted faces. And when I was little, I would swear up and down that they either winked, blinked, or the mouth moved, or the head turned, or something. I still, to this day, like, Lorilei and I both love gnomes.
Oh my God! Yes, I have a problem.
Yeah,
David, there are gnomes.
Because there's no place like gnome.
No,
and
I haven't shown you the little mini gnomes I've made. They're stuffed with little beards, and a ghost, and a vampire, and I'm trying to on a witch one so far.
I started collecting just little stuffed funny gnomes all the time, and I have like a bunch on my refrigerator. I showed Lorilei, and they're around my kitchen. And I swear to God, sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night to walk to the refrigerator, I'll catch their eye, and I'm like, "Don't do anything! Don't do anything." I haven't had them do anything.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I saw a video off of TikTok. This was creepy. You know how people make those, like, I would like those reborn dolls? Like some of them look more real than a real newborn. Anyways, now some people have gotten into the creepy aspect of it. So what they're doing is they're doing, pardon?
The werewolf ones.
Oh, I love the werewolf one. It's so cute. But they'll make like from Avatar, the movie, the baby, and the whole bit. Okay, so this girl, she had no idea who's. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps telling you. She sent somebody. They knew she loved monkeys, and I think she was a bit of a TikToker. And so she opens up. Oh, why don't I keep getting goosebumps? Ooh. Anyways, she opens up the box and she's filming it as she's opening. She doesn't know what's in there. And it's a baby monkey, like a reborn. I swear to God, they replayed it so many times. That damn doll looked at her like it was on its side like this.
Did you? I saw that one. It did appear to look at it. It did appear to look at her. I looked at it a billion times too, going.
I thought I sent you that. Yeah. That was
because I even watched because the reason I'm glad you brought that up. The other day there's a TikTok where somebody had it was on this. I like this guy. He's out of Canada. He's a young guy, and he's got a really thick Canadian accent. And he does all these shows. I wish I could remember his name. I'd give him a shout out.
Eastern Canada, because they've got a really heavy, thick accent.
He's got like blonde hair, and I don't know how old he is, but a lot of his videos, he's got a nice channel, he's got a huge following, and I get it, but half the stuff when I look at it, I'm like, some people will try to make it creepy about how they talk. What do you think? And this doll did this, and maybe it looked the other way. And you're like, whatever, shut up, dude. But he has some cool stuff. But this one, there is a lady, it was in another country, I don't remember what country, and she's looking at this lifelike mannequin. Mm-hmm. And now I knew what it was, but you could see all the comments on people, how they fall for stuff. Now I know that there are some dolls that have some creepy stories behind them, and they have some creepy things, and it's undeniable, and you really can't prove it wrong. But this was one of those ones. This lady was shooting this real, like a mannequin. And she's going, look at the hands. They're so real. Look at the face. And then she's turning her camera and she goes, as I turn my camera, he follows me and stares at me. And then the guy stops. He goes to watch. And they played it over and over how the head was moving. But it was because the lady was moving her camera. That's why the head was moving. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it ended up being one of those real life mannequin people.
That's what I was thinking as soon as you were saying.
And I knew it as I was watching. And I'm like, that's not a scary thing, dude. Don't put this on your channel because, it's too obvious. And
there are some haunted dolls. I'm going to read Neil's comment, then I'm going to share it. So Neil says, I feel like the veils have to be thinner. Often I just close my eyes and I start seeing all this stuff trying to get my attention.
It is. People are, if you want to talk about that for a minute, we'll talk about the dolls real quick, but
no. Go ahead.
This veil thing, it is getting thinner. People, as a working medium, and I talk to a lot of people every week, a lot of different ones. And then, I talk to, who knows how many on TikTok. So many people are becoming more and more aware of things. And I think that's why, and I think like the haunted dolls and all this stuff we're seeing, there's a mixture. It's because people are becoming more aware. We have more cameras and you get more pictures. But of course, that makes it difficult for people like me and Lorilei, because we also know that people aren't honest out there and they're making other things. So we have to go back and forth finding all these. But I think that the veil is thinning, and I think more and more people are seeing this. And I think I think if there's a word for it, I think it's being allowed to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but I also, hi, Liam Morgan. He
Hi,
says,
Liam.
hi there. Well, the other thing is too, historically and annually, we are moving into the spooky season, right? Like
Yeah.
you know, people that work in our field, or you talk to anybody that's a witch, for example, they will say Halloween night, sort of that whole week going into it, they believe that's when the veil is the most thinnest. But I do believe as well, and I think I have to agree with you, being allowing to be seen. But I did download a bunch of videos. They did download while we were starting to go live.
Oh, cool.
There were some clips about things that people are seeing. But the problem is, you know, in this day and age, it's just so hard. And we talked a bit about this last week, Dave, that with the deep fakes that are out there, like it's virtually impossible, even I think for most people that are experts at this, to be able to tell if something's been changed or if it's real or it's not when it's caught on video with audio now.
Oh, I know it's hard to even find the cuts in the film nowadays. It's they're so good.
There was one video in particular. I think this might be it. Hang on.
I'm not going to ask you a question. While you're looking at this video, I thought about this today, and everybody don't think me silly, but I'm going to be silly for it. Well, it's not silly, I think. I was watching after I watched the Nuke Top 5, I went down the rabbit hole and started watching all kinds of videos about ghosts and all this other stuff. I love ghosts, and ghosts are real, and they are things that we are able to see that didn't go over. Although I did think of this. I watched some videos where people had like ghosts in the window and all this other stuff, or ghosts they seen. And I thought to myself, how are their clothes getting there? Why are we seeing their clothes? Because it's the human being in the human body that's the ghost. Where are the clothes coming from? And then I was asking my guides, I'm like, why are we seeing?
Yeah, but when you see a human, when you're connecting with the other side, this is an interesting conversation. I don't ever have spirit if they're going to let me see them in body form, and they have clothes on. They're not naked.
I see them in different ways. When they show me what they look like when
if you can see somebody, because sometimes it happens, Dave, depending on how they show them, present themselves, they're in clothing. Like, for example, I was talking to one of my partner Dell's friends. I don't know her well, and I forgot how we got talking about her mom, and her mom had passed away. And I said, does your mom have dark hair? And she said, yeah. And I said, and as we got talking, and she sent me a picture, and I said, yeah, that's who. Because she goes, she kind of reminds me of how you look at first. And I said, yeah, but the lady I saw had like was her hair ever about down to here? Like she'd wear it down her back. She goes, yeah. I go, that's how I'm seeing her. And I described the outfit she was wearing. Like, I've never seen somebody show up without clothes.
No, neither have I. But what I'm saying is, though, there's got to be an agreement made or something happening. And I've been trying to get down to this with my guides. And it's like, I feel this is going to be a really long one to research. But like, even in mediumship, when I am talking to somebody's relative or whatever, they are impressing on me what they need me to see. So that's how I can see them in clothes and everything. I wonder if ghosts do that same thing. If they know you are watching them or they're staring at you in the window, are they somehow impressing on you what they look like and what they wear? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Let's go back to mediumship, right? Because I've had this happen. I know you have too. We've talked about this off air, that they may appear, say they were quite elderly when they passed. They will appear in an elderly form so that the person we're reading for will know who that is. They'll say, oh, that's Grandma Joan or whoever. And then I've seen them literally morph into
they start looking younger.
Yeah, how they felt the best and most beautiful, healthy, happy, and they'll show themselves like that. So
I've had them both ways. I've had that both ways.
And, I know we've talked about this off air, so I know.
I think there's got to be an impression had that we don't even know about or think about or even need to think about. Like, it just hits. I guess, and that's not too far fetched, because even like if I do channeling or channeling comes through, they're literally placing their thoughts over my thoughts. So, and I have nothing else to go from except for their thoughts, because I'm allowing it. So
I
guess
think they know. Okay, this is the theory. If everything's energy, right? And when we return to our true form, which I don't believe we are right now, okay, we're having a human experience. But when we go back or we cross the veil, whether we leave or we don't, whether we still stay earthbound or we go, as we call it, back home, okay, I think we know all the tricks of the trade, if you will, and they're not tricks. I'm just using a cliche here.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But we know how to manipulate energy. We know how to do all this stuff. And I think that they're able to do it from that side once they are no longer.
And I wonder, ghosts must be able to too. And recognizability why they're closed. I get that, but I was talking about ghosts, like when we, when I would, like, I know.
Where did the white sheet idea come from? That's what I'd like to know. With the big holes on it.
There used to be, it's a shroud, so they used to actually put the sheet. Yeah, it's to, when somebody was dead, they pulled a white sheet over them. So I guess that's where that came from. I don't ever, but I will say this: I've seen apparitions without clothes, and they were apparitions. So I was.
So do you see them naked? I've never seen someone naked.
No, not naked. I haven't seen a naked ghost yet, though. But
people would start laughing, I think.
They could do whatever they wanted. Yeah. But this is your husband, he's really well, this and that. No, he wasn't. I'm like, well, he's showing me he was. So
the guy says he still wishes.
Just like a male ghost, to just, exaggerate that size. His sheet is coming out so far. But
Neil says, I know what you mean about the time of year, but I'm just reading Neil's comment. Sorry, Dave, hang on. I said, I know what you mean about the time of year, but just my own experiences are increasing, and I'm actually starting to build more confidence in my interpretation if I just allow information to flow. And that's a key word, flow.
Flow and allow.
True.
A lot of us want to make the information happen. During my NDE, though, when the first spirits I encountered, though, were not in a physical form. So they did not present themselves in a physical form. But
maybe that's not what you needed in that moment when you.
Well, I mean, I recognized them without the form.
You didn't need to.
I didn't need it. But that's what I wonder. Like, even ghosts, like, I mean, how many times if you ever been like an investigation, you're walking in the hallway and you're with a bunch of people and you look down and you're like, I swear I saw someone. I swear I do. But most times on investigations, I don't see them in clothes because they're usually in the shadow form or something.
That's what I was thinking, because we had this conversation, because you'll hear people say anything that's a shadow is bad. I don't think so.
No, it's not.
And how much energy you have to be able to put that forward to manifest. And we know that from paranormal investigations, when batteries get drained and everything gets drained, or I've seen people say, I will never allow something to use my energy because no, I'm not doing that. And anybody else that does, that's up to you. That's your decision. But I know that happens. So because if everything's energy and it can be created, it can't be created nor destroyed, but transferred from one place to another. So I think depending on the amount of energy they have is what they present to us, whether it's a shadow or if they can hold the full form, right?
Exactly. And if you think about this, even with color, white is all the colors in their least concentration. Black is all the colors in their deepest concentration. So you wonder, as a spirit, if we see a shadow, maybe it's all the energy in a compressed state or form, and that's why we see it as a shadow. I'm not sure. I mean, I have no clue.
It makes sense to me, though, that if they were trying to hold the form, right, and then they can only hold it for so long, right? They have to maybe get energy from somewhere else. I don't know. And so maybe all we're seeing, he said, it's a compressed form. Maybe it's easier to manifest as one solid black shadow versus all different colors.
Yeah, maybe a shadow is just easier. We'll have to ask a ghost one day. But
Neil says it's all in line with what I want to manifest in my life. And it's so amazing to see it actually happening. And I think that that's everybody's birthright. It's that, like Dave said, I said the key word was flow, but David is absolutely right. And allowing it. But the other thing I'm going to add to that, and I've had this conversation, I'm positive David has too, probably with people when we're mentoring, people will say, well, I really, really want to be able to see or hear or feel whatever it is, right, on the other side. And when you sit down, especially when it comes to seeing, even hearing, but you have to ask the person and say, are you really prepared for what you may see or you may hear? And when they start to think about it, it's not been 50-50. I'm going to say 70% go, oh my gosh, no, I never thought of it that way. Because if you saw, like, say you're working on clairvoyance, being able to see, and you saw a full bodied apparition at the end of your bed, how are you going to feel about that? Or hearing it? Or things like that. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. So allowing it, but really examining, there's an old saying, be careful what you ask for. And I don't mean it in a bad sense. It's just, say you do see it. Are you going to be able to handle it? Mm-hmm.
There was another theory I looked up, which I like this one. I started listening, and this was yesterday and today, because I was wondering about the ghost thing, and I was going on and on. I was going through it. I'm a big researcher. I like to research everything, but I still keep it.
All have to in this field.
Yeah, we have to in this field. You really do. If you take everything, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But I listen to a bunch of channelers now. And I thought, I started punching in different channelers I know, and I'd put their name about ghosts, their name about ghosts, their name about ghosts. There was one channeler who I had an idea of something, and I got to that channeler. I'm like, aha, same idea. Now, of course, I've liked that channeler because we had the same idea, but I happen to agree with it. And I'll tell you the channeler in a minute. But one of my ideas was too, is maybe some of the ghosts we're seeing, like the ones that enclose everything, maybe we're not seeing a ghost. Maybe we're seeing through a dimension, because we are overlaid with dimensions. Right. We could just be seeing that one specific thing from that dimension, because you and I do that a lot in our work. I mean, even when we're, accessing certain things or all that, we see it in a dimension over. Or like when people, like when I'm in the woods, you guys, and if anybody who watches this from TikTok, and I say I'm talking to my guides here, and then I look up into the air, I'm looking past what's in the air, and I'm trying to see past that to see what's going on with you. So I'm actually trying to look in a dimension that could be future or whatever, or a possible future, because everything's a possible future. But I wonder if some of them might be.
Oh, sorry, Dave. What did you say? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, so I wondered if some of the ghosts we see that have a lot of clothes, like I watched the one Nukes 5, and the guy walked downstairs and he saw the ghost in the bathtub facing the wall. And then he went and did something, came back, and it was gone. And I thought, why would a ghost just face a wall and do that? My theory for that would have been, maybe as he walked by, he caught a glimpse into somebody standing on a street in another time period, and it was superimposed, and it just looked
like
he
was having activity too. He said he was
getting but I'm just
say this, because I'm on the same time thought as you are, because so Christine says they probably see us as shadows too. Now that's a question I've often asked, I'm sure we all do in this field, is, say you are doing a paranormal investigation, whether it's residual energy or maybe it's intelligent energy, and you're able to communicate via ghost boxes or what have you, but you'll see a ghost walk right through the wall. Well, how do you know that they're not seeing things the way it was when they were alive, right? Like maybe somebody's walled up a doorway that used to be there and they're still walking through there. And maybe we're in the most, rundown shambles of a place that, like, it's barely safe to be in there investigating. How do we know they don't see it like it was back in the heyday before they passed, right? Or you'll get, the one thing I always try to be cognizant of is people walk in and say, your dad, right? And they'll have a ghost box. And a lot of times you'll hear back from the ghost box, no, you're dead. How do you
That's
know?
what I mean. I wonder if people from a parallel see us once in a while and we look like ghosts to them, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's hard to say. You know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll volunteer to be a ghost for a little while after this next life. I mean, why not? And then I'll report back somehow. But
you report back.
From talking to spirits and in my line of work, I'm assuming that they must be able to see us when they can, because I've had spirits who are validating themselves for me because I'm really big on evidence, as they'll say, hey, she looks different because her hair was cut, like, whatever. And I'll go back to the person. I said, they're talking about you changed your look. You just changed your hair recently. And they're like, oh yeah, I used to have long hair and I just cut it off. I'm like, okay, well then they obviously can see it. So
they can see us. Yeah. Because, okay. So Christine, I'm going to add my thoughts on her comment. She says, okay, so Leah, I'm waiting for you to type. You said, I know this is random. Remember when we were talking about Tommy knockers. So go ahead and type what you were going to type. But Christine says, while we're waiting, most of them are just passing through, I think. I don't know about that, because she said, but so are we. So I feel it's all the same. It could be. I don't have all the answers, and I have had what are called drop-ins. I had one on one of my Monday night shows about beginning of August, that I have never been so distracted in my whole life. And the minute I got off the show, it was with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. I had her on for the first time as a guest on my show, and we literally ended the stream, and she goes, "Who was that guy?" And I go, "Oh my gosh, I know." Like, he was so distracting. That guy was a drop-in. But we got to remember, right, we're all energy. And again, this is just my perception, but Spirit's shown me from the other side, like, they don't need names. They recognize that, like David, you didn't see a body, right, with your NDE, because you didn't need that. You knew who it was with you. And they know us by energy. But they showed me that
I saw their energy, but I didn't see a body.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. So what I was going to say, though, what Spirit showed me, when they're looking down, okay, or looking across the veil, however you want to look at it, everybody looks like little pinpricks of light. But those of us that are aware of and are utilizing the gifts that we all have, but we're utilizing them, they always show me that scene. I don't like scary movies, but you're driving down a dark highway and there's no light, and all of a sudden you come up on the motel with the flashing vacancy, no vacancy sign. So that shows them, right? They already know from the other side that we can communicate here, whatever. But that's also, there's negative energy as well, right? We live in a duality on this planet. So they also can see that we know what's going on, if you will. It's a sign. I hope I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a very good point that you said. For people who ask, when I was asked me, and I say there's no such thing as this and that on the other side, but where we are, it is a duality. So here, we need negative in order to see the positive, and we need all these things. So it does exist here. So don't think that I don't think it exists. It does exist here. It's where you want to play too. Really.
That's true. But if you think about it, right, even listening to channelers and things like that, right, and hearing their perspective. I love listening to people that channel and what they bring through. And it's always
except for the Saint Germain guy.
Oh, you were just thinking what I was thinking. Oh my gosh. David and I picked up on the same guy, and so did I've had Leanne on the Angel Rock, and David knows her. We were all the same thing when we started talking about it. So, but where I was going with this, and it kind of supports what we're talking about, is it's always so cool to listen to people that go into a trance. Not all of them do. Some of them can go back and forth while they're channeling and come back to who they are, and vice versa. But to hear things that they say that you've received from Spirit already yourself, almost word for word, I always look at it as evidential proof, right? Like, there's no coincidences. So
no, you have to.
Okay, so Leah wants to ask about the Tommy knockers. Did you want to add something else, and then I'll highlight her comment?
No, go ahead. Highlight away.
Okay, you want to read it? And it's two parts.
Okay, I watched a series about how they. Okay, she's talking about Tommy knockers, those who are not, and which are basically, what she's gonna say. Tommy knockers. Some of them call them little miners or goblins or what have you that hang out in the cave systems. Some seem to help miners. Some seem not to want to help miners.
There's a picture in Nuke's Top 5. Did you see it in the caves? I was wondering if that was a Tommy knocker. It's caught on camera in this week's Nuke's Top 5. This kid's he didn't even know he caught it till he got home, and they were exploring caves, and there's something in the far background, and it's little. It's not really well defined, but there's something there on the video.
Oh, that Nukes, I saw that one too. Yeah, that one I have to say, I couldn't debunk that one. I thought that there was something there. I don't know what it was. It looked like a person that was literally, though, to me, when I first looked at it, it looked like somebody who was getting ready to do one of those plungers where they blow up stuff. But I don't know if, and I didn't even know the background of where they were, but that's what it looked like for me. And they were in a cave.
It's interesting, Leah, that you brought that up, because that's what I was thinking about this. That's why I mention it all the time, because there's such a, like, there's a guy that's in the Philippines and he's a Uber driver, and you see the door open. You don't see anybody get in the back.
That one, I debunked.
You debunked it?
I think I did. And I'll tell you why. And I could be wrong. That's the only one on that series of all the ones that I said, this one, no.
Okay, why?
Here's why. Okay, so it was good at first. I watched that first. So he's an Uber driver. Now, if I could see the whole video too, I might have, like I said, I'm only seeing a portion of what somebody else is letting me see. So there could be more to it that I missed, and I'll have to take this all back. But I'm going to say this is the reason why that one didn't hit me as much. When the Uber driver was there. He turns around, you can see the door open and nobody gets in, but he's talking to somebody. And which, for one, I have to say this, in the last couple months, there's been a ton of those type of videos all of a sudden. So there are copycats out there. So right there, that just alerted me. That didn't say anything. It just alerted me. So the door opens, he gets in. She tells him where he wants to go, and he hears it, and he starts driving. And then he looks in the rearview mirror, and he doesn't see anybody there, and then starts freaking out. Here's what got me. This is what made me want to think. I'm not saying it's not real, but this is what made me not want to think. I spent a lot of my life observing people and their actions and how they act and react, because that's what life is about, actions and reactions. He looked in the mirror and didn't. Now, if I was driving and I looked in the mirror, I didn't see somebody, I would say, I wouldn't right away freak out. I would go, are you okay back there? I'd maybe pull over to see if they like fell down or fell asleep or did something like that. He looked, immediately had the reaction, and then just pulled over and said, oh, she's not there. She's not there. And then he kept discussing what he was discussing over and over is what I think threw him off. I don't know if that's how normal people act, and I could be absolutely 100% wrong. I'm not saying that, but from all the things I observed about it, I'm like, his reactions weren't with it.
Somebody got in my back seat, and I thought I saw someone. I was talking to him, and I look in the mirror. First thing I'm going to do is look behind me and go, and then pull over.
Yeah, that's what I would.
Okay. I'm going to be going, what the heck happened? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, what you just said. Like, that would be the first thing I would do. I'd look in the mirror and go, where are they? And I'd look back, like, did they fall down? Are they puking? Are they something? And then I would pull over and go, holy shit, they're gone. But that's the only thing that got me on the video. I'm not going to say that stuff like that doesn't happen, because I could have swore that I've talked to people before in my life that weren't actually there. And like I said, I've had that encounter at my job right after my coma, the first week at my job, when somebody bought my groceries. I never seen that person again. And nobody else remembered who he was either. And it was like, that was odd. And so I think stuff like that can happen. In that instance, it was how the reactions went. So, but like I said again, too, they might have only been showing us little clips. So maybe he did turn around and do that in a longer clip.
He does just take little clips. I don't know. We'll have to look it up and see.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I'll have to watch it. Go ahead.
But that would be creepy. And I know that there are. I've seen the videos of people where people have died on the side of the road, and they put the flowers out, and they've seen those apparitions on the side of the road. And some of them, and these are the really old ones, because this has been going on for how long? Forever. So I think the strangers on the side of the road thing, I don't think that's a lie most of the time. I think that actually is true. I just think
it was interesting nonetheless, and that's why he always says, "Is it all an elaborate
Is
hoax?"
it all in a line? See, I like his too when he says that. You make up your mind. Okay, cool. I made it up. Don't like that one.
Okay. So Leah, I'm going back to Tommy knockers because we got some great comments here. So Leah says Tommy knockers are big in Kentucky because of all the mines and actually have been seen from people's windows. Interesting.
And you know what? Tommy knockers in Kentucky, I could see that too. And I could see just because of how the people are, and I could see how they would be there.
If you got some pictures, send them to me or Dave, Leah. Any of you, all of you listening, send this. If you guys got some spooky, crazy stuff you want us to talk about or whatever, send it to us. We'll
send it. We'll look at it. And don't worry, I don't like to debunk everything. I'm just saying if there's something I have to.
You need to debunk it. You need to have a healthy dose of skepticism. You have to. And you didn't see me arguing with you because I can't.
No.
Like it could.
And that was the only thing that bothered me in that one. I liked, was that the only one? Yeah, that was the only one. Then
what about the guy with the gin? Well, let's, I'm going to get to these comments, I promise. Okay, the guy with the gin, I have seen him on there, and it's the reason why we've done shows on tulpas, because it seems over in the Middle East, and there's a few of these guys, all of these things that have happened to these two guys with the gin, they live stream. I have watched their live streams.
Well, I can't at first. I will tell you when I first watched it until you just said that too. And I realized that when I was watching
that kind of seemed fake to me, but it was
as soon as they were talking and he said the word gin, I went, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again. But it was in India, and that is where that takes place. So, okay. So I went back
and I seen that guy be in buildings and crazy stuff. There's a video I want to show you guys. Actually, there's
I would like to see the rest of that footage, and I would like to know.
I gotta turn this down. No, these are with creepy little beings. There's this one thing I seen though that here it is. I don't know if I can get it to blow up. It's gonna be hard to see. Hang on. But okay, so I didn't upload it because I didn't know if we were gonna talk about it or not. But get a load of this thing. This is garbage, and it's all like, to me, this seems fake.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at it though. Like it's going and going and going and going and going. See that? Oh, sorry. It finished? It wasn't. Oh no.
Yeah, that one is a artistic. That one I know about.
Oh, is it on there or did it stop? No, it stopped. Okay, the one I was going to show y'all. We've got lots of good stuff in here. Hang on, we got lots of good comments. There was another one we were talking about creepy things. This thing looks like it's something from the Philippines. Hang on, I'm going to look at it again. Evil spirits called awang. Shapeshifters that morph into vampires, ghouls, it says viscera suckers or werebeasts were seen in the Philippines. Again, what is with the Philippines? Hang on. Now, you guys, I know it's on my phone, but they're so short. Oh, you're not going to play? Okay, hang on. Play. Okay, I'll try and blow it up for you. Hang on. It's so hard to... Can you see it? Can you see it?
No, it's too bright. It won't do it. Oh, wait, now we got it. Fake.
What is it?
I don't know what it is, but it isn't. It doesn't look
real. I agree. It doesn't look real, but I don't know about you, but I've been seeing all kinds of crazy stuff coming out of the Philippines.
I know there's some crazy stuff. The only reason I say that is because I've seen a lot of flying things, and I watched. This is really crazy, you guys. This is how boring I am. I don't watch like movies and shit like that. I will put on a documentary and watch something about that. I watched about movements of birds and all this stuff. And some of these stuff that they show, they have no movement. That if they had some sort of movement that you couldn't explain here, it'd be different, but they don't have any movement like anything living here. So if somebody says it's something that's living in the jungles here, I'm like, no, it would have to move a different way in order with our gravity and all this stuff. I'm not an expert, but
was aliens supposedly in Peru, was it, or wherever, and they said they were slaughtering all the
that was a fake.
That was so fake. That was guys dressed up as aliens using jetpacks flying around and with machetes doing that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
For the mines, by the way, because they were miners, they said. Not miners like young people. They were miners.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they were.
Yeah. which is fun because we're talking about Tommy knockers who go in mines.
Okay,
we totally full circle back to you, Leah.
There you go. So Janet Martin says, I've had two different things that were going on during the same time period blend into the same remote viewing. Both images were correct.
Janet, I get that. I understand what she means.
Can you explain a little further? I was going to say I need more detail because I can't quite picture it, but can you explain a little further, Dave?
If I've had it where I remote viewed a location with two different things on there, only to find out one of the locations that I was remote viewing at the same exact time, overlaying on that one was way someplace else. So you were remote viewing these as they're in one space, even though they were far apart. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
You'll experience one day. I know you will. You're going to get it and you're going to be like, that wasn't there when I was remote viewing it. Like everything else will be there. You'll have that proof, but you'll say, what the hell is this? And then you'll look it up and try to find where that came from. And just to find it was something totally different someplace else. And I believe that's what Janet may be speaking about. But it is, you can remote view stuff from two different time periods in the same time period as well.
Yes.
So I used to, after I used to, well, I'm going to call them hallucinations, but I know what they are, but other people call them hallucinations. But probably about the first year and a half, almost 2 years after I was sick, because the first year was a whole remembering who you were period.
Right.
I would go down the road and I would just kind of be watching it out, just like watching, like somebody would be driving and I'd just be watching the scenery in front of me. And literally with my eyes open, like these cities would form in front of me. And I was going crazy for a while. I would sit there and close my eyes and going, oh my God. And I told my parents, I said, am I hallucinating? Why am I hallucinating? And we asked, my doctor.
I'm going to add something to this, Dave, because what I find when I haven't slept a lot, like I'm talking like going a couple days without sleep, I don't do it on purpose, but if you get a bad back, and I do, and some days you just can't sleep, right? I find the longer I go without sleep, and I don't think I'm hallucinating. I know where I am. I know what I'm doing. I can see all kinds of things out of the corners of my eyes. So what if, love to hear people's thoughts on this. What if when you don't get a lot of sleep, or you who was coming out of a coma after an NDE, so you're almost like that, you're not in the wake sleep phase, but you know what I mean? Like you're coming.
Yeah, this was probably about a year and a half afterwards, but yeah, I'm still
you're still, like you said, rediscovering who you are and everything else. Okay. So there's no time and space on the other side. What if it lifts the veil for us more? Because do you know what I mean?
In what you're saying too about being asleep, being tired, and you see so much stuff. A lot of people will always tell people, oh, you're just really tired, so you're hallucinating. Not necessarily, because the deal is, and I know this as a practice, going into the hypnagogic state. You want to channel right.
Yeah.
So I think when you're, don't you think that's what it is? So
I
it's not
think
you're tired. You're walking around.
Yeah, I've asked my guides, like, am I hallucinating? Like, what am I seeing? And that's exactly how they've tried to explain it. For people that don't know what a hypnagogic state is, it's that we call it the sweet spot. So it's kind of just as you're drifting into sleep, you're not quite awake, you're not quite asleep. And the same thing, especially in the morning, your alarm goes off, you don't really want to get up, you hit snooze right when you're just almost asleep but almost awake. That's the sweet spot.
That's a hypnagogic state. Yeah. Because if people who don't know what that's necessary for, is people who channel, or for people who do channel writing or anything like that, to get to that state where you're not thinking about what you're doing, you go into that hypnagogic state and you'll start writing, not even thinking about writing.
I can do that without going into the hypnagogic state. But
I do that. Yeah,
I do that. But what you need to do is you just need to start writing about something. And then I think you almost put yourself into that state. And before you know it, if you ask one question and then you'll write all this stuff, like half the time I can't read my writing by the end of it because it comes so quickly. That's called almost automatic writing, right? Like
I do automatic, all my angel readings and stuff that I do online on my things. So by the way, you guys, theywhispertome.com, angel readings. When you have those, like I always tell people, you don't have to ask a question in those, because whatever, they're only going to tell you what you need to hear. And
well, I
so
just
far
meant if you needed to start, like the other day I was doing that. I was going to, before I got sick, I was going to channel something, and I hadn't done it in a while, and I'm going, okay, how am I going to start with this? And I heard ask a question, so that's what I did. And then next thing I know, I had written like 6 pages, and I'm left-handed to begin with, and I'm trying to read my writing and going, oh my god, I should have just typed.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I guess I'd probably go into, I've been in certain states so many times that I don't have to prepare to get into them. And most channels will tell you that too. They've channeled these things for so long, it doesn't take them long to get in that state after a while. It's like super quick. I do that with my angel writing. So I can sit down, I put it in front of me, I put me a music on in my ear, and I'm like, hi you guys, and I do my little couple angel things that I do, and then I sit there, I look at the question, and I just start typing. And I'm just, I used to tell this.
Am I cutting out again? I'm probably cutting out, am I? It's me. Let me see if I turn my camera off.
Oh, that was weird.
Coming back.
Oh, now it's just me.
No, I'm back. It was me. We're getting rain and stuff. So I thought, oh crap, I was just going to turn my camera off. It's me. I'm back.
Okay, we're back.
It's me. And it doesn't matter. New computer. And if the weather's crappy, it's going to do it. So I got to read these comments.
Yeah, anybody who's on here, if you want to know what we're talking about, if you can sit in one space with a book or a pen, get a little pen and a book next to you, sit and relax and find something to get. If you can find a meditation to do it, get to that state where you're almost sleeping. You don't want to lay down when you do channel writing, because you will just fall asleep.
That's a good hint, like I said, Spirit gave me, was because I wasn't in that state. I said I kept trying to start, because I know how to start. It's familiar. It's not like, it's the same thing with anything, meditation or anything. Once you get good at it, you can just do it like that, right?
Yeah.
So I said to my guides, okay, how are we going to start this? They said, ask a question. What did you want to know? So I asked it. I didn't write it out. And then I just started to write. And next thing I knew, it was literally like it's hard to explain. It wasn't possessed or anything. It's just like the pen just writes, and you just, it's like you're a stenographer. You're taking notes.
Yeah, you just kind of let it go. Janet said, she's saying in the vision she saw, it was the sniper that was in Falls Church.
We got to go back. We got to go back for that question. I just want to read these two before. So,
go ahead.
In a sec. So Jonathan had to go, JK47. So he said he was just rewatching the Estes session that we did on the weekend. And he says he can't wait to show me. Oh gosh, I guess there was a lot of stuff. So I'm going to read these two comments, because Liam asked something, and I think it'll make sense with Janet's answer. So Leah said that the show Hellier is about these people who go into Hellier, Kentucky and research. They also just came out with a movie called The Unbinding about a possessed wooden doll called the Crone. Ooh, that sounds creepy. You heard of that one, Dave?
The Crone? Never heard of it.
Okay, so this is why Janet answered this. Because Liam said, do you think the Las Vegas thing was real? I wasn't sure what he was asking, and I think that's why Janet was answering what she was.
No, Jana was answering that because Jana was talking about the remote viewing, seeing two things in one place.
Okay.
And that's what she saw. That makes absolute sense, Janet Martin. I know what that means. That's kind of what I was trying to explain.
For people listening, you want to read it?
Yeah, it says the sniper that was in Falls Church, and she saw that in Osama bin Laden's location in the same image. So people who are watching outside of this, those weren't taken in the same place. And when you're remote viewing, you're usually going to a place. So if she was remote viewing to see where, let's say, the Bang Bang person at Falls Church was. So if she's remote viewing and she sees all that, but then she sees, overlaying or next to that is the location for somebody else who is a terrible person. And she sees that in the same, we'll call it a vision. It's hard to explain to you guys what we actually see. Everybody sees stuff differently. It's kind of like if you kind of imagine like those animals where they're like lizards, where they can look around like that. People who see all kinds of weird stuff too, and it's really hard to explain how you're seeing it. But that's really cool, Janet. Yeah, that hasn't happened to me a ton of times. I can't say it has, but I would say it's because maybe they're just trying to kill two birds with one stone, pardon the pun.
Yeah, I've never had that quite happen either. Sorry, Liam, and I misunderstood. I'm not on the ball tonight with this.
No, that's okay. And
no,
then
but I wasn't quite sure what you meant about Las Vegas. So you might, are you talking
Oh,
about the kids?
yeah.
Like, is he
No.
talking about the kids, the teenagers that landed in his backyard?
No, I'll explain to you, Lorilei. You probably didn't see it. Maybe you didn't see it in Canada. There was in downtown Las Vegas. I wasn't by a strip club, I think, or all places. You know how they have those big spotlights that go in the air?
Oh, I did see it. It was New Year's Eve. I know what you're talking about. There was a lot of things that happened in Las Vegas. Is that what you're talking about? The one on New Year's Eve where the big thing happened over top of the hotel?
Yeah, and the light kept hitting it.
Yeah.
It's going by. Do I think it's real? I think there's parts of it that was real and that stuff is happening. But even here, anyplace else, even if it was completely 100% real, it's going to get shut down. I'm not going to play it on that much anyway. So it's hard to really tell.
We should still ask him, though, because there was the more recent thing where those teenagers were in the backyard and it got caught on the police cam footage too, right? Of the something going through the sky.
All that stuff was absolutely real. But you know what the problem was with that? Everybody jumped on that bandwagon and started doing all this stuff, kind of like the girl on the airplane and everything else who said that man's not real. People jump on it, and when too many people get into something, it makes it harder and harder to find out what the truth is, because everybody's got it. People who don't believe in it or don't care and just have that one thing on their mind, which is to get views and videos, will make some stupid video for that.
Okay, but did you see her?
The kids?
No. Did you see the woman who said that MFer isn't real on the plane? No. She did a video afterwards. I saw it. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see
it.
It
almost didn't even look like her. She claims it was her, and she didn't really quite come out and explain why she did what she did. And to me, it almost seemed like this lady was forced to make some kind of video to kind of explain, but not really explain what really happened. So it was all really sus to me. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it is a little sus. It was aliens. I believe the one in Vegas, I believe they did see something. And I do. And the one with the kids and the police and all that, I think there was something there. Although all the pictures that people were showing of the actual aliens, I think
he's talking about the families. So that's what I was wondering. I was thinking, because that one was more recent, Dave, because the one I know you're talking about was New Year's Eve. And it was really hard to see, but was it over top the Mandalay or something? I remember.
It was by a strip club, because they were coming out of the strip club and they were literally looking up going, oh my God, it's just right there. And it was there for the longest time. But of course, and went all on the news stations, and then it went away real fast.
I saw
with the kids, I saw all that footage and I saw more footage of it. I believe that was real.
Did you see the crops? It wasn't real. You can't call it a crop circle, but it definitely left some kind of something in the ground where it supposedly landed in the backyard with the family.
Yeah, and they just recently had some more crop circles lately in England, and they are and I've watched a billion documentaries on crop circles, and yes, I know there are people out there who fake them, and there are people who can fake them really well, but the ones that they have, they can't be faked. Just some of the ones they have, just because of the fact that somebody's got a video. They actually had a video of a crop circle being formed, and that's the one everybody's looking at, and it's an old video, which means they couldn't fake the camera tricks. And there's little big orbs flying all around the field, and then all of a sudden you just see the impressions start to come in. Some people, some channelers are saying that they're coming from beneath the earth, and they're coming from under the earth, and that they are not code, but they're symbols for other ones that are up here. So they're not like, they're not dangerous things.
Because there was a guy I was watching, was it last night or the night before? And it was just video shorts. And he was some part of the government or something. Now, he claims he's seen this once, and you can take it with a pinch of, a grain of, whatever you want, of salt or whatever. It was just fascinating to me because they showed in like almost an animated drawing of what the artist's interpretation was. He said that they almost look like sloths sort of things, but he said they were between 200 and 300 feet tall. Like they sounded like mountains underneath the ground, but they had long dreadlock type hair.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Did you see that one ever,
I know
David?
the guy you're talking about. I'm doing what you said, taking it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I do understand, though. People don't understand how big the Earth actually is.
Yeah, I know.
We can go deep into the Earth without hitting, all this stuff. I don't know that there's 200-300 foot.
I don't know either, but it was interesting.
But it was interesting, yeah.
Mm.
Because I love listening to stuff like that because, if somebody takes a picture of it or we actually see it or we go in there and it's well-known fact, I'll be like, yeah, fine. In the meantime, though, I still like hearing about it. I don't know why I like hearing about it, but I think
it's a possibility, right? Like we're going back to, I just realized we said we were going to talk about haunted dolls, and I know that Leah tried to get us back on there. So because I was going to bring up about Annabelle. Like I think Annabelle wasn't she like a Raggedy Ann doll that is
and what if Annabelle was like 200-300 feet tall and she lived underground? So see, there we go.
No, I'm talking about a haunted doll.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm going back to the haunted doll.
Oh my God! I'm going. Oh, did I miss something? Did I just jump into a given?
I was trying to segue us back into the haunted doll. So I said, wasn't one of those creatures look like a 300-foot tall doll that was under the earth?
Wait, well, then you get the Raggedy Ann. So Mary Mellon says, yeah, Raggedy Ann doll. Now there's a lot of stories around that, and it's in Lorraine and Ed Warren's I guess their historical museum, and I guess the son-in-law now looks after it. But that's not the first place, because I also watch a couple other paranormal shows. I love Paranormal Nightmare with the Foreman brothers, but once in a while I watch the Paranormal Files with Colin Brown, and they were at this museum. It was like a 3.5-hour documentary they released last night, this haunted jail. And then I know the guy whose museum it is. He does, I forget what it is, paranormal. It's on Saturday nights. He used to investigate with them, but now he holds this museum, and he has a doll like this as well. Like every really haunted museum seems to have this doll that has to be blessed like once weekly, and holy water, and Dybbuk box. We've talked about Dybbuk. I think we've talked about Dybbuk boxes on here, haven't we, Dave? If we haven't, I know I talked about them in the Angel.
I don't know what a Dybbuk box is. I don't think.
Okay, then let's talk about them, because then it was the Angel Rock. So a Dybbuk box, and there was a big thing about them a couple of years back. Is it Mind Chill, Mind something? I forget what the name. I can look him up. Anyways, supposedly somebody found something called a Dybbuk box that had been passed down through generations in the family. I believe the great-great-grandmother was either from Russia or the Ukraine or somewhere like that, Poland. And she always told the family that the box was never to be opened, and that was that. Well, I guess she passed away, and the box, I think, ended up getting sold in, and I could probably screw this up. You guys can please forgive me because I didn't look all the details up tonight. But somebody got into the wrong hands, and somebody opened it up, and there were all kinds of misfortunes and horrible things that happened. And there wasn't much in the box, except there was a smell, I think a candle, a lock of hair, and something else. And supposedly it's meant to hold like a evil entity or demonic entity. So there's a guy, I want to call Mind Seed or something like that, on YouTube. He bought a Dybbuk box, and he does paranormal investigations. He got it off eBay. Now, he was filming it. This is a few years back. Could he have faked it? Could have. But he did he did a K2 meter around the Dybbuk box when it came. There was a lot of EMF energy around it, what have you. And he didn't believe in this. Like, he was trying to prove this all wrong. He ended up opening up the box, and again, had a really bad smell. There was some hair, some dirty cloth, and something else. And right away, he started having all kinds of activity and bad things happening. And he was filming this while it was happening. He claims it's about an hour and a half long video. He had to end up having somebody come to his house to cleanse his house of it. So this is the legend and lore with it. So Janet says, she's talking about the giants. Okay. Well, we're going on to the scary dolls. And so you've never heard of a Dybbuk box before, Dave?
I didn't, but I've heard of boxes where
I'll get the definition.
I've heard of things where people there's rituals where they put in pieces of hair or fingernails or stuff like that into these boxes, and it represents the capture of that soul or spirit.
Okay, they all want to say it's a hoax. No, I don't. It's Jewish, actually. Please forgive me. They all this is what Wikipedia is saying and stuff. I don't think it's a hoax, but it says from Jewish folklore to an eBay purchase that left a man. This is what I was referring to in a tidal wave of bad luck. Dybbuk boxes are wine cabinets. There we go. Claimed to be haunted by a Dybbuk. Oh, there we go. A malicious demon said to hold the power to invade and possess a living person. Authentic Dybbuk boxes will usually come with some sort of backstory and certified documents, such as papers signed by a rabbi that state under all circumstances do not open. So what exactly is a Dybbuk box? Where did the legend start? And how in the world did a man in California get his hands on it? And it goes into the whole story about this. And so it became quite a big thing probably about 8 years ago. Everybody was looking for a Dybbuk box and wanted to buy them. And there's a whole story. This is under U.S. Ghost Adventures if you look up what is a Dybbuk box. I'm trying to find the YouTube video, though. I'll put Dybbuk.
I'm sure Zach Bagans has one.
Oh, I don't even say his name. Wait, okay, Dybbuk box.
I know it's like saying Voldemort.
Okay, so you are right about Zach Bagans, and I've heard Post Malone talk about this. So do you guys know who Post Malone is? He's a musician. He's got tattoos on his face and stuff. I remember this. This is for a Halloween special. And I didn't watch it. I seen the clipping of it. And there was a box. And of course, we know what a showman Mr. Tight T-shirt wearing man is. And he supposedly has a real Dybbuk box. And Post Malone didn't believe him. So he opened it. And I have heard Post Malone talk about this on TV shows. He almost died 2 or 3 times after that. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened to him, really strange, weird circumstances. I'm not sure if he ended up getting cleansing or what he did. So Leah says, I was about to say Zach has one, but I didn't want to PO anybody. No, you won't make it.
I just make fun of him at this point.
That's it, Leah. Yeah, his plane almost crashed. He said Post and I think she's talking about Zach put ashes in there and Post Malone's car was wrecked. Yeah, his plane almost crashed. He had a whole bunch of stuff happen to him in a very short span period of time. It was really crazy. Post Malone will still, he believes in it now because he didn't believe in it. He thought it was crazy. I'm trying to find, let me see if I can find it on YouTube. This because I do believe this guy. Let me see. Dybbuk box opening. I'll see. I'm probably gonna get a million. It's Mind something. I forget what it is. It's got a weird name. The channel Mind. We'll see what it says. Mind Seed. I was right. Mind Seed TV. Dybbuk box cursed my home, and the video was not 12 minutes and 39 seconds. It was like about an hour long. Now, whether he faked it or not, I don't know. But remember, if everything's energy and people believe that the spirit gave me this a long time ago, what we perceive becomes what we believe and it becomes our reality.
Yeah, it is. That's the one thing I have to say to people all the time. We can say up and down something doesn't exist, and it might not exist, but it might exist for that one person because it's so strongly.
This guy on Mind Seed TV tried to be scientific, so he took the K2. There was a lot of EMF about it. After he opened it, there was no, and there was I don't remember seeing it cut. I'd have to watch it again, but all the EMF was gone out of the box. His dog was going crazy. I know there were quite a few nights he saw stuff from outside the apartment.
Was this one person? Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, there was these guys I watched. They had a YouTube channel. I stopped watching it after a couple things because I was like, all right, this is just annoying me at this point. But I wonder if that's what they were doing. They had ordered a box or something from
It was
eBay.
a big thing a few years ago.
Okay, that's probably when. So the video, I do know what that is. So these guys bought this box, and they made this big countdown on YouTube how they were going to open it, and of course, their next couple of days of YouTubes were this. What was that? 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 I'm like, okay, all right, Zach.
No. This on Mind Sync TV, he does get some weird stuff, and I don't know if he's for real or not. I do think he's serious about it, but I remember he gathered up his dog because he didn't believe in any of this stuff. That's why he bought it. He thought it was a big joke. He's going, yeah, right. So he ended up. Him and his dog took off to his brother's a couple nights in a row because there was stuff going on in the bathroom, like the light going off and on, and a few things moving here and there, and. So Leah's still adding with Post Malone. Yeah, his house was robbed, plane almost crashed, his car was wrecked.
In all honesty, I have to say, if I were to move from every one of my houses, if I were to move every time one of the places I lived in had some weird shit, I'd be moving every other week.
Yes, I know, but like I said, yeah, but
we're used to it. We're more used to it because actually, it just
didn't believe in it, and he did it. Now again. My thought is truth always rises to the surface. And yes, I do believe we have to have a healthy dose of skepticism looking at these things because there's so many things that can be faked. Hi, Debbie Schmoley. So it's hard to say. Yes. Okay. So getting back to this haunted doll, because we got into
haunted doll. Yes.
So with this Annabelle, like that was creepy. Like, and the story behind the Annabelle doll, like this person said it tried to choke, I think, the girlfriend, and anybody that went near it, they had a priest go near it, and the priest ended up dying in a car accident leaving from the Warrens, their museum. And there was a young couple that didn't believe in it, and they went into the cabinet, I guess, to get the doll out. They got in a car accident. There was a lot of stuff that happened around this doll. So I know it's Tony Spira, I think his last name is. It's the Warren son-in-law who now has it. And I think it has to be taken out and blessed, and you have to wear special gloves and the whole thing. So I don't know. And these were people that didn't believe in this kind of stuff. So like same as Post Malone, he didn't believe in all this stuff. So I don't know.
That's just. Did you hear that pick me up before? Was that me? Did anybody else hear when I said, I don't know? See, it's not, it said it back.
Okay.
Well, I watched the episode later.
Okay. Where was that in the show? Let me see.
About 30 seconds ago, a minute ago.
Okay. I'll have to see if I can find it.
That sounded like it was me as I was saying it. It was saying it back. Unless it just picked me up and made,
no.
You know what? Leah Passmore.
No, she says,
right back.
You guys think Moldavite makes bad things happen, or is it people's mindsets? Because I'll tell you right now, Dave's going to give me crystal envy right now. I don't have my Moldavite, but I adore David's Moldavite. And you know what? Somebody else was asking me, David, where you got your Moldavite from. They sent me a message. Moldavite is very powerful, but so you have to be careful because some people can't be around it. But I do not believe that Moldavite causes anything negative to happen. If somebody was very concerned about their Moldavite, you could just cleanse it and then charge it again. So I would tend to think a lot of it would be your mindset. Oh, there we go. Oh, I got my crystal.
You can hardly see it in there, but there's Moldavite under the triangle.
Why are you scared, Leah? You don't have to be scared of it.
Yeah, no. Moldavite, I'll tell you about it. So Moldavite.
Debbie loves hers. I love mine.
I love mine too. It works with me. Some people claim that when they hold on to it or something, they get sick or they feel ill and all that. And then
it's very powerful.
Yeah. And then some people like me, I mean, I can do whatever the hell I want with it. I'll use this. I'll wear this if I'm doing some serious channeling or stuff like that. Moldavite comes from
asteroid.
It comes from a meteor that hit here.
Meteorite.
So there's only so much Moldavite left.
And I'll tell you a story about Moldavite. Okay, my partner Dell never listens. You know how it's always your partner's idea when they come up with it, even when you've told them about the amazingness of something, right? So I had Moldavite for a long time, told him about it, and he never really listened. And then he's seen some documentary on Moldavite. He really wanted a piece. Now he really should have picked it out. But I said, you want me to pick you up a piece next time I'm at one of the esoteric stores here? He goes, sure. So I picked him some up. He had, from when he was a little kid playing hockey, is really, I was worried it was actually cancerous, this very large bump. Now, I'm not making any claims about anything. I'm just sharing a personal experience.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked gross. He would call it his horn. It didn't look like a horn. Okay. And all of a sudden he decides he's going to start meditating with the Moldavite on his third eye at nighttime. So this is in our old house. And he comes in one day and he goes, take a look. And I go, what am I looking at? He goes, my horn, it's gone. And I go, what? And like, it was just a bump, but it was very discolored. And it was from an old, like I said, a hockey injury. He lifts up his hair. There's no red mark. There's no nothing. It is gone. And I said to him, what happened? Like, where did it go? Like, you don't have a mark or anything. I go, what did you do? And he goes, well, you see how you see me meditating with the Moldavite? I said, yes. He goes, I think that's what did it. I said, well, what did you do with the Moldavite? He goes, I just focused the energy on healing it. Now, I'm not making healing claims. What I'm trying to say here is, I think that with the intention that he set with it, coupled with the energy of the crystal, he was able to do that. We could do that with a placebo. But my whole point of sharing this story, because it makes me feel a little bit sad. I'm glad you shared it, Leah, but I don't think you have to be scared of it in any way. But there's incredible things you could do with crystals. Wouldn't you agree, Dave?
Yeah, listen. Here's the deal with Moldavite, my dear, with you saying I'm afraid to get it. I'm going to tell you right now, don't get it yet. And here's why I'm saying it. It's not going to do anything to you, but from the placebo effect, it's already in your mind. So something might happen. Moldavite, I don't know. I have heard from a lot of people, they feel uneasy when they hold it. Now, I don't. The first time I had Moldavite, I looked at it and I was like, oh, what is this? They're like, Moldavite.
That's what I did.
Yes. I was like, I love this crap. And it's probably the only crystal that I have ever picked up that I actually felt something from. Most crystals I don't feel crap from.
That's how I am. Like, I have a Super 7 I wear all the time and I use it in my healing work, but I don't pick up energy. But lots of people
I don't pick up stuff from it. Now I know I'll use amethyst and stuff. I'll use amethyst a lot when I'm doing like angel channeling or stuff like that. And I'll do stuff like that. But do I need it? No. But I think that these crystals do have a life of their own, and they are energy. And the fact that this energy came from someplace else, not here, that's why I think is what bothers some people. But,
well, no, I do know people that get very sensitive around Moldavite, and it can, if you're very sensitive to it, it's not just Moldavite. There's all kinds of crystals. So the thing that you do when you get a crystal is you cleanse it. Some can be cleansed with water. Some can be cleansed, like I always say, darker crystals, sometimes like the earth with the grounding. But one of the things I use is salt, or if you've got clear quartz, you can sit the crystal on top of the clear quartz. For a quick cleanse, like when I'm doing crystal Reiki, if I'm going to be using it in between clients, I'll just use even sage or something like that to cleanse it. And then you can charge them with the full moon. Charge them back up with energy. And not all crystals need cleansing either, but it's nothing to be afraid of. So if you're open to it, just remember, okay, and we got to remember this, like you said, Leah, okay, thanks for clearing that up a little. TikTok stories have me terrified. People talk about their loved ones dying and their lives falling apart. I'm going to tell you right now, I think that those are scary stories to scare people, because I have yet to ever hear of a crystal doing something negative. I look at it as a gift from source energy for us here.
I'm on the same mind wave as Lorilei is.
Yeah.
It's not the crystal that does something to you, it's us. Now, when Janet Martin says, I feel it in my chest, I wear my Moldavite right on my chest. That's where it's most comfortable for me and does the most. I don't know if it hurts somebody else. I will say this, if I can quick say it about TikTok, just so you guys know, I have been going through and I have been blocking people left and right. Not because they're doing anything bad to me, but there's some things I just don't even want in my life and don't need. Right now, there is a bunch of psychics and mediums on TikTok. There's one in particular, and this is a scary thing. This woman has like almost 1 million followers, and she's this woman priestess something or other, and she's supposed to be a life coach, which is on her thing. And she's on TikTok, and I think she actually believes it, but she's talking about the floods happening all over the world. She's like, okay, and she's making TikToks now telling people that they don't need to go get provisions and dried food and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh my God, listen, there are a lot of doom and gloom psychics out there. Yeah. And the reason they're doing this is because they want you to come to them to get a reading, and then they'll do it over and over. I know there's a lot of energy healers out there. There's a lot of good ones. I have a lot of friends who do it, and they're wonderful, and they do their thing.
I do it. I do crystal Reiki.
Yep, and Lorilei does it. But then there's people out there who always are making people come back. Like if Lorilei has a client and it takes an extra half hour to do something, she's just going to do it.
You're darn right. I tell people, like, I'm not the type that says 60 minutes, we're done. No, we're done when we're done.
We're done when we're done. Yeah, and that's how healing goes. It's the same like for my mediumship. Almost every mediumship, that if it's a 30-minute, I always go by over 30 minutes. I mean, it's just, you can't tell a dead person to go away and come back when they pay for it. And when you're doing energy work, you're doing that work until it's done.
Can I tell you something funny I seen the other day? Yeah. And I've been so tempted to be sarcastic, but I'm not. I'm going to be a better person than that.
No, don't.
There's a guy on YouTube that was writing a lot of hate about a bigger YouTuber. This is how I heard about this guy. He didn't put his name out there, but it wasn't hard to figure out who he was. And he's running around telling people that he's nothing but love and light, but he's a semi-psychic. It's like, dude, either you're psychic or you're not. Like, what is a semi-psychic? Yeah. And I'm all love and light, but everything he was spreading was all hatred. So I think what you have to do when you're looking for somebody to work with, you resonate with who they are, either you hear through word of mouth or whatever it may be, and you talk to them, get a feel for it. But anybody that's going to keep making you come back on the clock, or they're going to guarantee 100% accuracy, run. Nobody is 100% accurate. And the other thing is, they're not going to keep making you come back over and over. I had someone recently reach out because they know I do mentoring, and they weren't really sure where they wanted to go with mentoring. And if I was ready to fill my pockets, I could have went, yeah, hey, come on, I'm going to charge. I didn't do that. I said, here, there's a bunch of free resources I direct most students to. And I did. And I said, take a look at these and work your way through. And then maybe you'll get a little bit better idea, maybe of exactly what you want to work on, because you're not going to get rich doing this kind of work if you're out there to do that. And that's not why we do it either. But
no, and some people are out there, the doom and gloom people do it. They're just trying to rope you in. If somebody, listen, I always tell people, like when I do a reading, if I don't work in the negative, but if they happen to have something negative, they're going to tell you how to fix it, go around it, or do something with it. They're not going to say, oh, tell that person they have to come back for another reading next week and bring a lump of hair with you so we can do something. That's just not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. People have to be honest. You either can, you can't.
We don't take credit as energy healers. I always say I'm the mailman. I forget what somebody used the other day, and it was a perfect term, but it's not me. I'm just
Thank you, Mary Mullen.
What was that?
I said, thank you, Mary Mullen. She said,
thank you, Mary Mullen. Yeah, she said she had to run and trust. Go, come on back, Mary. We talk like this every week. No, but I'm just the mail person, I say, or the channel, whatever you want to call it. That's all it is. Like, it's not me. And I tell people that all the time because, right, you can look at it this way. And Dave and I have talked about this on our shows before. You know, there's two ways to look at it: service to self or service to others. And but the real reason I think we're here, and Dave and I have talked about this many times on our show, off the air, is I think as a human being, we're meant to be in balance. That's why it's so important to be grounded and connected to source energy through our chakras, whatever, right? But also, that's what we're here for. It's called Earth School. And the other thing is when we're in balance, everything I think sort of goes tickety boo, if you will, not always in balance, but also it's about service to others, kindness and love. And no, not all of us are 100% right at it all the time, right, Dave? It's just
no, we're not. I am worse. I am terrible. I can be a full-on bitch.
no, but we
You know what I mean?
strive for that. Like that's what we're working towards, right?
Oh yeah, everything is always to work. For me, it's always to work in the positive and all that stuff. But like I said, if you got to watch these people on TikTok who do these doom and gloom psychics, and I've watched card pulls where they right away it's, you know, oh nope, you're not going to live through that, or nope, you're going to get a divorce, it's all over with, blah blah blah. And they're like, well, I'm just a straight shooter. It's like, no, you're not. You're giving the first bit of information. There's all information can be changed. Everything can be changed. Everybody, when they say it's written in stone, there really is nothing written in stone, because your perception can change it all the time. We see it all the time.
No, you're absolutely right. And the other thing is too, is there's so many different, like that's just like that's why I don't like to give a lot of future readings. Or if I do get something in the future, I'll say, as I see it in this moment. But again, like Dave, I think that was so important to point out that nothing's written in stone. You are the master of your own destiny. We're creators. And I know a lot of people say, well, I didn't create everything crappy going on right now. We're not saying that. That's maybe part of why you're here, to learn a lesson or whatever it could be. We could do a whole month of shows on stuff like this.
We could, yeah. I know that I give, now Lorilei knows this too. I get a lot of dates for some reason. And the dates happen to be right most of the, not all the time. But most of the time they aren't. I don't know
where you're not telling them something negative either.
Yeah, but I never. Yeah, whenever I get a date for somebody, they're always telling them around this time or around this day, tell them to just be aware. And that's it. They never say, "Oh, you're going to get in a car crash or something."
No,
I had somebody in a group reading I did. Somebody had came through and they said, "Could you tell this person that it was something about?" They had told me they're leaving someplace and they need to be careful. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean be careful? Is there danger? They said, no, they need to be aware. And I knew what it was about. They needed to be aware because they were kind of promiscuous type people. And when I went to that person and I said, I am supposed to tell you that you're supposed to be aware on this date that's going around. He said, that's interesting. they were going to some club in Atlanta for that time. I'm like, aha. So they were right. They said they just want you to be aware. So who knows what that means, but it's what they do.
And you can take it for the way you want it.
And the same with like the haunted doll, which, you know what, we'll talk next week. I will do a ton of research on haunted dolls, and so will Lorilei, and that will be our beginning topic next week. Because I know
but you guys got to realize this. Most of you that have been here before, and Janet, I haven't seen you here before. You may have been here before. Glad to see you here. Thank you. We try to get to most comments, but what we do is we just start with a topic and we go where you guys want to go, because that's why we do this show. Without you, Dave and I would just be sitting here chit chatting. Not that we'd mind. No, it's more fun when you're here. We go where you guys want to go.
But it would go to cats and all this other stuff at some point. Yes. You guys would be like, what are they talking about? Yeah. So we try to keep on the topic of something at the foot of the bed that might make you feel uneasy. And that's what
I just saw though too. Okay, second night of the Outer Realm coming up here with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, and they're Wednesdays and Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it looks like they're having a Q&A. They do a lot of the paranormal. And they have a really big 2-night show on our network. So you guys, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, I know you're gonna, if you haven't seen their show, you're gonna love them, hanging out with them, because they're coming up right after us, because we're almost out of time.
And I urge anyone who likes our show or listens to our show to listen to some of the Q&A shows and ask questions. You're probably going to get different answers from different people, but that's because it's coming from experiences. But you will know when you get the thing that resonates with you. But it's always good to ask questions. I like when people ask questions, and I like when people get a lot of different teachers, and I like when people investigate around. You know, it's you might as well do it like that in this life, because like we said before, nothing's written in stone. we don't all know everything. And even though I can talk to my guides and I can get a lot of information, there's some information that is just not given to me. And I have to sit here and wonder what in the hell.
Well, plus you only get the perspective from one person when you work with one mentor. When you work with a bunch of different mentors, or even, like I said, the Akashic records, I could just work with one person, but we call it the masters, teachers, and loved ones. When you work with a collective, you get all of that knowledge, all of that experience,
you get all of
everything all thrown in. We only have a couple minutes left, Dave, so you want to tell them where to find you?
Well, you guys, if you want to get hold of me, you can go to my website, theywhispertome.com, or you can join me on YouTube or in Facebook. It's called The Spirit Experience. My TikTok is at Medium David Hanzel, and the same goes for my Instagram.
There you go.
And I never, and this is including Lorilei, we never, ever, ever direct message people to solicit readings. We don't do that. You know where to get hold of us, and that's it.
Okay, so we've been trying to go every week. It's just this week I wasn't well, but David did it. So hopefully next Wednesday night, we've been trying to go more live on TikToks. You didn't miss it, May Gagne. You know what? There's always Facebook user. It's okay. Happy birthday. I'm not sure who it is. Facebook user says I turned the big 60. So happy 60. So
happy big 60.
There's always a replay, guys. So you can go to YouTube, to UFO Paranormal Radio, David's Facebook group or channel, YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience. I'm not streaming on my Facebook because they wouldn't let me do it, but we're on Roku tonight. We're also on my YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin, on Canada's Most Haunted on the Facebook pages. And if you just want to listen, the podcasts are anywhere where podcasts and talk radio are carried. So you can find us for sure. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Facebook.com/The Angel Rock. Got a show idea, guest suggestion. Like Dave and I said, send us some pictures or video clips if you got some crazy spooky stuff you want us to talk about. Also to book a reading with me, I do energy healing and mentoring. All of that, again, it's Facebook.com/The Angel Rock, and I have two groups, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things kind of spiritual. Oh, hi, Kim Lawful Hot. She said, okay, welcome and happy birthday. So the replays will be here. They'll be, like I said, Dave's group, or you can go to UFO Paranormal Radio. And I know I shared it to my profile, or you can go to any of the YouTube channels, but you'll be able to rewatch and no problem. And then I will be back on Monday. I'm not on my game tonight, guys. Sorry, getting over a cold flu, with the Angel Rock, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have JK47 Paranormal, who's usually in the chat. He had to run off, but Jonathan, and we did Estes Method on the weekend. We recorded it, and he just put in here before he took off. He said he went over it again. All kinds of stuff came through. So we're going to talk about that. Anyways, thank you for being here. David, quickly, when is your Mystic Stew coming out this week?
Probably on Sunday.
Probably on Sunday? Okay. So look for that too, guys. Otherwise, we'll be back next week. Same time, same space. Stay tuned for the Outer Realm. Okay. Love y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.